Hey everybody, good morning. Still waiting for Ferny. I don't know if he got stuck on a personal reading call or where he is, but once he gets here, I'll certainly allow him to get in here. I hope everybody's doing okay this morning. Beautiful Tuesday in Washington. Weather is about 64 degrees, which is really nice. I love it. And I hope where you are, you're not suffering from any kind of hurricane backlash or heat. We had a really hard summer. So anyway, um, I guess I have a few minutes. I'll talk a little bit about my memberships. And I did mention it on a short I did this morning, but I do offer memberships. I don't know. Some people don't even realize it. You do have to see it on a computer or on a laptop or maybe a Kindle because it's on my homepage and it says join if you're interested. But they are either $3 or $4.99 a month. We have some membership meetings. We do. I do some private readings with people and things like that. So no pressure, never a pressure. Just mentioning it. So if anybody is interested in looking into it, if you click the join button, you can see what the parameters are in there, and you can see whether or not that's something you might be interested in doing. So yes, I'm still waiting on Ferny. Hi, Valerie. A beautiful day in Pennsylvania. That's lovely. Do you get the leaves changing in Pennsylvania like they do in other places on the East Coast? Because boy, oh boy, I tell you, I do miss that very much. So we get a little bit of it here, not as much as New England, Vermont, New Hampshire. Hi, Craig. Hello, Jackie. Nice to see you. Valerie, of course, and I also see Rossi and Richie and Mary. Thanks for being here, everybody. You tried yesterday but couldn't find the join button. Okay, Valerie. If you're on your phone, you can't see it, unfortunately, but you can if you're on a computer. And it is on the homepage. So here he comes. All right. Yay.
Hey, darling.
Hey, no problem. You probably were still digging out the sand out of your shoes from being down at White Sands. Is that the
Yeah, it's been a really busy week.
Yeah.
It's start to the
No,
week.
I appreciate you being here with us today because I know you're a busy guy. I mean, I've been watching your escapades on Instagram. You've been overseas. Didn't you go to
Yes,
England? You went to
I did.
England, and
I
now
did.
you're spending a little bit of, I love White Sands. It's so
hmm
beautiful. It
It
really
it
is.
was my first time going, so it was
Okay.
yeah, so it was a totally new experience for me. So I was really
That's
excited about
wonderful.
it.
Yeah.
hmm
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I just loved with your dark hair and all the white sand. You looked really great. So
Oh,
there you
thank
go.
you.
There you go, Fernie.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to England?
Have not been there yet.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
have
got
a family that came over from Wales actually. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
I
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
yeah, for me, we always have a bucket list, right? And my bucket list has always included all of the wonders of the seven wonders. And for me,
yes.
Machu Picchu, I got a chance to go to Machu Picchu. I think what was back in like 2016, 2015, and then this now is the second wonder that I've been to, which is I was able to go see Stonehenge, so that was
Stonehenge.
really awesome. Really, really awesome. Yeah,
That is
it's
great.
different. I think going there in person and seeing it,
Yeah.
it was an interesting, energetic experience.
I was going to say if you are any
Mhm.
bit intuitive or empathic or in your case psychic, it must have been the energy must have been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Part of because when I tune into things, I don't just jump into conclusions of what I'm sensing. I try to I will take
Yeah.
a piece of that and I will break it up in my mind and I will try to examine and figure it out. And going there, I recognized two different layers of energy, which were really interesting to encounter because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting,
Yeah.
you always hear, oh, the energy of the place is amazing, and the rocks have all of this energy and vibration. I was like, okay. So I was expecting that, and that's
Uh-huh.
not what I found. I found
Oh,
something very
okay.
different. Yeah, I found
Really?
I found two layers of energy. One that pertained to all of the people that go there
Hmm.
and that leave behind what they are coming with, and then the energy of the actual site itself and the history behind it. And so when I was, because you can walk the perimeter, and as I was walking the perimeter, I had all of this stuff flooding in, and I could see all of the pilgrimages that happened over time and people going there to honor the sites and to just pay homage to what it was for them. And
Yeah.
I could see that in my mind historically, and also could feel the energy of the present day pilgrimages there as well, with people going there today thinking of it in a certain way. So I could feel
Yeah.
that, and that was really, really charging. But that is still like human energy. That's still a vibration and
Yeah.
an energy that is connected to the people, not the
Sure.
site. So when I tapped into the energy of the site, it's like this historical series of events that started to play out in my mind that had, it was a very
Amazing.
different, my idea of what I thought Stonehenge was changed with this visit. Because, you hear of like, oh, maybe, it was created by an ancient civilization that had contact with extraterrestrials, or there was some sort of like
Right.
magical element to it. And that's not what I felt at all. I actually,
Okay.
when you stand there and you look at the ruins, and first of all, they're big.
Oh
Sometimes you
yeah.
think somebody's going to be big in person, and then you go there and it's actually small, like the Mona Lisa. No, this was big. Yeah, they
Yes,
were
that's true.
definitely big. They were
Uh-huh.
huge.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought to myself, this is really fascinating. And as soon as I stepped onto the site, I felt like I was stepping into a machine. And the machine, I felt, was designed to measure and to help people understand nature and the earth and changes and cycles that were
Yep.
changing. So I believe that Stonehenge now, baby, having been there, I believe it was a machine. It was a scientific instrument designed to help them measure changes in our world and to prepare them for changes that would be coming in the future, things that were
Yeah.
happening in nature. And I think there were people at that time who were trained and taught and understood the science and were conducting themselves as priests and people who had this like higher knowledge, just like in Egypt with
Sure.
the pyramids.
Right.
They had all of this knowledge.
Yep.
But
Wow.
I didn't feel a layer of magical energy so much as I felt this layer of scientific, like, just know-how. But the majesty or the magical element came from the people who would go there, because not knowing what this really did or how it worked, they just assumed that this was some sort of like fantastic, gift of the gods for them.
Sure.
And so they
Sure.
worship this as if it were, even though it still was more of a scientific instrument designed and managed by these priests who knew how to use it. So it was really fascinating to like feel that energy and
Yeah.
see.
It's like you
Yeah.
stepped into a time machine in a
Hmm.
way, that machine energy, but
Hmm.
what a beautiful experience,
Yeah.
Fernie. I think it would be wonderful if everybody could feel that when they were there, but
Hmm.
I know that isn't always possible. I
Yeah.
do know that when we walk into sacred places, even in Santa Fe, when I was there and I went into that chapel that has the
Hmm.
you can't get to the the above,
Yeah.
but I
It's the spiral
yeah,
staircase.
the
It's the
spiral
yeah.
thing, just
Hmm.
absolutely the most sacred feeling, and so I've felt that before, but I've never you sound like you saw, like, movies in your
Oh,
head.
I saw an
Yeah.
entire scene playing out. I
Yeah, yeah.
actually, they were wondering like what happened to the stones. Why did they get, why are they laying there? They're massive and heavy. So, and they have these groups that kind of lock them in place.
Mhm.
And people, we've always wondered like what caused them to be dismantled, or
Tipped
just like
over.
for them to
Yeah.
be, yeah. And what I saw happening was I saw a um kind of a mob of people who were angry and felt disappointed and felt betrayed by the people who were controlling and managing the center, and felt as if it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. And essentially, they turned against the
I
machine. They
did.
turned against the people. It's kind of like it reminds me of like, when you think of the insurrection on the Capitol, people turning
Yes.
against the government and like going for it and destroying
Yeah.
it. And I could see the same situation playing out
Wow.
there, where
Yep.
people pretty much like destroyed it because they were angry and did not think that this was serving them anymore, and they felt
Yeah.
betrayed. So it was a really interesting thing to see that happening, and people climbing up and like just pushing. It was the craziest thing.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
That's thank you for sharing that. That is
Hmm.
that that really touches me, that you were able to explain that so well. I really would love to be there. I also would love to walk into some of the castles. Did you get to some of the castles?
Yes,
You did?
I
Yeah.
went.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
I went to Buckingham Palace and saw the changing of the
Okay.
guard, and I
Yeah.
also went to the castle. Which one is it? The one that the Queen usually stayed at.
Oh,
That
over in
they
Scotland? You didn't go to Scotland, did you?
no,
No.
no, I didn't go to
No.
Scotland.
Okay.
I plan on going back because I want to take a
Okay.
train
Sure.
trip up to Scotland as well.
Yeah.
But it was the uh, gosh, I don't remember.
It's
I know
okay.
that's where the Queen is buried because I saw the Queen's remains and a
Oh,
crypt, so I was able to pay
okay.
respects to that. So it was really interesting
Oh, that is
to see that.
interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I love living through vicariously through your experience, and I appreciate you explaining it so well to all of
Mm.
us. We just love having you. So I'm glad you're back. And Marina says, hello, Ferny. I know
Hi,
you've been on her
baby.
show as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you are well loved in this community. You really
Oh,
are. Glow, hello to you. I'm going to say hello to Flora, and we've got Roseflower and KK and Wiki, and oh my goodness, lots of folks coming in. Richie and Book Bewitched. How are you, Maruda, Carolyn, Booker, and yeah. Oh, what was this? Ferny was able to give me a name in the year of a past life. Yeah, that blew my mind, Ferny, when you gave Marina
mm.
oh my God. And then she found it on the internet.
Hmm. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. I
Uh,
have a friend. I have someone right now who, I had a past life on the Titanic, so I was one of the stewardesses on the second class. In the second class,
oh,
there were three women. There were actually three stewardesses that died on the Titanic, and two of them were one of them was a matron, and then the other two were stewardesses, and they both served on the second class. And I had a reawakening of a memory of being one of those women. And I always wondered about the other female that I was working with, who I knew died with me at that time
with
because
you?
we didn't make it off it. Yeah, we didn't make it off the
Yeah.
boat. And
Yeah.
I met someone this week, and we started just having conversations, and it just turned into an interesting, like, he believes he had a past life there, and he describes some of his experiences and what he was
Uh-huh.
remembering, and they match up to the other woman who I would have. So we I might have connected with my coworker from the
Oh,
Titanic.
well,
So it's re-
that makes sense, doesn't it? It
yeah,
makes sense because
yeah,
don't we come back with people we know?
we
We
do,
come back from, and
yeah.
probably from other lifetimes as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and
wow, that's
he's
awesome.
a flight attendant, so he in a way is a steward, who's still
Yep,
doing that kind of work. So it's a very interesting thing to see that happen.
absolutely. That's, oh my God, that's so fabulous.
Mm.
I love that. That's great. All right, so I'm saying hello to everybody else that I haven't said hello to here, and you're welcome to start putting some questions up, and
Mm.
we'll see what we can answer for you today. But it's so nice. Oh gosh, it's just so nice. Your energy is so beautiful, Fernie. Honestly, thank you. Um, so Patricia says she's released all residual effects in her current lifetime from a past life in which she was beheaded? Question mark.
Mm.
Oh, have I? I'm sorry.
Mm.
Is there any longer any issues with neck and spine in this life?
Um, I definitely think that there are still going to be a couple more situations come up where you're going to have some neck and spine stuff that you'll have to manage. And I say manage because it's not like this is going to derail your life after this. I think you're just going to have to manage some of the symptoms that you may experience with the neck and spine area. However, the idea of releasing all residual effects and influences is like going to be impossible because that lifetime serves you in one way, shape, or form, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's psychological. It serves your life in this form at this time with purpose. And so if you experience a life where you were beheaded, it's not just the experience of being beheaded that you are still affected by, it's also the circumstances surrounding the beheading and what happened surrounding those details. I mean, what I can see and what I know about that is, I felt like, interestingly enough, there was another female that you had kind of become very good friends with, And this was during a period where essentially people were being manipulated and forced into submission. And sometimes
Mm.
people, out of fear, would turn against the people they loved to survive. And I saw this female kind of essentially turning you in, or speaking about you in a way that got you beheaded. And so there's some trust issues and loyalty issues that you might have come up in this lifetime as well, especially with friendships and other females that may still be a struggle for you to work through. And in a way that serves you, because it's subconsciously forcing you to be more aware of who you're letting in, be more aware of who you're allowing yourself to be deep and open and sharing with, and being more careful and cautious with the people that you choose to bring into your inner circle. So it still serves you in one way, shape, or form, even if the physical condition and the influence is diminished.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Oh, VL is here. You love Ferny. You aren't alone. Oh my God. We all love Ferny. Thank you. All right. So Rossi says, may my guides tell me what I am still holding from a past life and what can I change if
Mm.
anything.
It depends, because you've had about like 236 past lives, so you've had quite a bit. So it depends on which past life you're referring to.
Rossi,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I
Okay.
think something that I think you are still working on. Your voice carries you, not, and I'm not just talking about the sound of your voice. I'm talking about what you have to say, what you have to share with people. And there are times where you really do need to express yourself and to speak up, because in prior lifetimes, and more than one, you have essentially dealt with consequences for speaking up, or for speaking truth. So in doing so, it's like, it's like when you think of Germany and during World War II, if you were German and you spoke up against the oppression and the completely horrific conditions that the Jewish people were being put under, you were also, thrown in with them, because you're, oh, you're not going to be with us, you're against us. And people had to suffer consequences. And on more than one occasion, you spoke up and you said something that you needed to share. You stood up for yourself, or you stood up for others, and it caused you pain and it caused you to suffer. But this was a progressive process for you over many lifetimes, and in this lifetime you've had opportunities to also do the same thing, and speak up on behalf of others who are being, who are suffering or struggling. And sometimes you're dismissed, or you just are not heard clearly enough, and you might make it a point to change your feelings and your opinion, or how you're conducting yourself, to accommodate those who you are afraid of. But this is a chance for you to shift this properly and change it in a way where you are elevating yourself as a spiritual being who has the authority and the capacity to speak with truth and authentic being.
Mhm. Wow. You know, I have to tell you, if we can't personally read for you because we have too many, please know that all of these messages contain lessons and information that we can all utilize. And that's exactly what Maruta says here. I appreciate you making the point about the whole life experience being something we're supposed to learn from. This is
Hmm.
why we're here
Yeah,
to love and here to learn and here to grow. And,
yeah,
so everybody can get a little bit from every reading that is
yeah.
done here, whether or not we can address your particular reading at all.
Yeah.
So,
Well, with this, with us in the spiritual community, I think a lot of us have gone through so many trials and tribulations and traumas that we hope for a better life and a better world. And
mhm.
in the process, some of us have bought into this idea, this idealism, that we are here to live perfect lives and suffer not one bit. And so we reach for these like ways of living where we either avoid people, we avoid reality, we try to stay away from things that are human in nature, hoping that we can have this like very unique and idealistic experience of being human. But
Yeah.
that's not the point of why we're here. We descended
Hmm.
from a heavenly state into a chaotic place of opportunity. And it is a place of opportunity because there are things that we can experience in human form on this level and in this reality that serve us and grant us perspective and ability to
Yes.
observe ourselves as source in form. You don't know yourself until you experience yourself. And sometimes you have to experience yourself through others. And we do that all
Yes.
the time. And so,
Yep.
in a sense, Source or God is experiencing itself through all of us and playing and interacting. And so, yes, being human comes with its own um, bag of mixed goods, and we will have, you know, experiences that are not pleasant to have. But at the same
Mhm.
time, there's incredible experiences that we can have in this form that if we just realize that it is a part of the process of being human, that we can have more of, and don't have to submit so much energy and give so much energy over to the difficult things that we do have to experience in form.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. Just some people are saying in my show notes is Ferny's link to his YouTube channel. He also does a lot of work on Instagram. He has people over there, and that's where I keep up with him all his travels. It's lovely. But he also has fernandomarron.com, so you can reach him there as well. And he does do personal readings, I believe, and
Yes.
can set up an appointment if that's what you're interested in. Okay, so let's go to the next. Do you see me buying property in the next couple of years? That's Rose Flower.
I don't see you buying property in the next couple of years. I do think that you are going to look into, because I feel like you're going to go back and forth between buying property or investing in property, which are two separate things. When you buy property and you live in it, I wouldn't technically consider that an investment because it pulls money from you, and you know, having a home and supporting all of the needs of a house are costly. So I wouldn't consider that an investment. But I think you're going to go back and forth between buying property, which would be like a home, or investing in a piece of property that you can use as residual income. And I think you start to look into this and consider this more seriously during the second half of 2024, like during the second half of next year. But then I think you end up changing your mind and you decide you want to go ahead and just purchase a property for yourself. And I can see you doing that in March of 2025.
Oh, okay. It sounds
Mhm.
far away, but it really isn't.
Yeah,
So,
it's not.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Hi, Thomas. It's good to see you too. And Viviani, thanks for being here. This is from Mary Thornberry. Any message that you think she might like to hear today about her?
hmm Yeah, I think sometimes we expect too much from family, and we expect family to conduct themselves in a way that would be idealistic or that would be the way that it should be. And sometimes we just have to accept family for who they are. And when I think of you and I think of the situation, I'm reminded of my youngest sister. My youngest sister and I were pretty much estranged, even though she follows me on Instagram. She sees all of my posts, she likes my stuff, but we
Uh,
have zero interaction with each other. We
exactly.
don't communicate with each other at all. We don't have any bad blood against each other, but she can be a bit of a flake, and sometimes when we invite her to come and participate in family events and activities, my sister's wedding, my sister having her baby, the youngest one never
Yeah.
showed, didn't wasn't a
Oh,
part of that, didn't even, and so that's just who she chooses to be, and it is what it is. So in a
yeah.
way, it's like I know my other sister is disappointed by that because she wants that relationship. Now that they both have children,
Yeah.
she wants to be able to share in that experience together. But they can't because my youngest sister is how she is. So we just I've accepted that that's who she is. And Mary, so what I'm saying is I think that with the expectation of how families should conduct themselves and how they should be, I think that you might have to come to a very obvious, like, okay, this is how it's going to be, and just embrace and accept, and then do the best that you can with it, because it's not going to get any better.
I had a 14-year falling out with my middle brother when my
Mm,
dad died. I never
mm,
thought it was going to be taken care of, but it was, and we came back together until
yeah,
he passed. So that was a
mm,
good feeling. But you know, yeah, free will,
mm,
absolutely.
yeah,
People can choose to be who they want to be. We can't make them do anything. So that's
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So Richie's wondering if he can get a message from his father-in-law Joe. He just passed away last Thursday. I don't know if it's too early. So
So when I think of this, I'm seeing four males. I'm assuming your father is one of the four, but I'm getting four males around you. The one that I'm fixating on, which I'm thinking might be your dad, I, he keeps pointing to the side of the heart. So not technically the heart itself, but the side of the heart. And I keep seeing the blood flow and also the circulatory process. And then I also keep seeing one lung or one side of his breathing being affected as well. So there might have been some fluid buildup or some issues that were starting to build up there as well. In a way, it's almost like I feel like there was other issues that were starting to develop in your father's body, but I feel like ultimately, um, He was ready to go. He just makes me feel like he was ready to go. He's also shown me something interesting, and with mediumship guys, it's kind of hard to without having y'all come on because it's hard to validate some of this by just sharing it with you. But he
Right.
keeps showing me an apple, and I'm not sure why I keep seeing Richie an apple. He's showing me the shape of an apple or an apple. So either there's a significance to the symbol of an apple for your dad, or there's a reference to like either he was a big apple person or apple pie. But there's something there that he's making reference to with regards to. Okay, so yes, my father-in-law had heart issues, so that makes sense to me. And then he's showing me an apple. So if you recently just did something regarding an apple, or if he was big on apples, this is another sign or a thing to be aware
Okay.
of. Butterflies are also going to be a sign from him as well. And he's also like moving his arm and his hand. So I don't know if he had restricted movement for a while, especially with one of his hands, but he's like making sure that I can see his hand stretching out and extending.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Richie. I hope that's helpful to you, my dear. Yeah. Thank you for validating about the heart issues as well. Hello, Kelly. It's good to see you. Hi, Sonia. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so Juanita wonders if you can tap into her life path and tell her what she should be studying.
Well, I can't tell you what you should be studying just because I don't like to tell people what they should do. However,
Uh-huh.
I think that I actually could see you going more into medical intuitive work. So, any kind of holistic medical health and wellness, Reiki, but definitely medical intuitive, where you can scan the body and you can look for the issues in the body to try to find
Mhm.
anything that might help with the person's recovery or healing.
Mm.
Which is interesting because you were actually a doctor in a past life, where you, and this was
Oh,
in the
yeah,
earlier, yeah, she was. So
yeah.
she had established herself. I want to say this was actually in Boston, or just outside of Boston, and she in that lifetime was a male,
Uh-huh.
and her father was a doctor as well, and then she kind of she didn't want to be a doctor, but she ended up going into the practice and learning the practice, and then became a doctor herself. And in a way medicine was still very limited, as far as understanding specific conditions and issues and so forth. And so I think she always wanted to do more besides
Yeah.
just treat like physical ailments, especially psychological ones,
Hmm.
because sometimes people would come in with psychological conditions and there was no real. This was like in 1918, so this was actually really, really, really long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
but she wanted to understand more of the psychological stuff, and it was still in its infancy. So I think now there's a big link between trauma and the physical body that I think she's going to be kind of cycling more into.
Wow. Juanita, that is so cool. There's a guy named Anthony William who does these kind of medical intuitive classes, and he has lots of books.
Mm.
Again, it's Anthony William, and he's down in California, just so you know. But that's wonderful news. Wow. She says she still thinks about the mental health stuff. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Valerie, thank you
trigger. It's
for,
a pull. Hmm.
yeah, it is. Thank you, Valerie, for Richie wants you to know that you were right. One arm was numb on his
See,
father-in-law. Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Yeah. I
Yeah, it was
like to
probably a
see the
nerve. It was probably,
validation. Yeah.
yeah. What he showed me, what got me there and helped me to understand that that's what he was referring to, is because about a year and a half ago, I was giving my kitty some fluids with a injection, and I missed when I was trying to put the cap back on. I missed the cap and went straight into my finger, and I probably touched a nerve. And after that, my finger was swollen and would not close, and it's taken this long for it to be able to do this now, because before it would just do this. So he was showing me that and then showing me the entire arm being affected. So I'm thinking there was a nerve issue with his arm that was causing the numbness with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Well, thank you. And thank you, Richie, for your validation. It's nice to know that that you understand what he said
Hmm.
about it. Yeah, that's awesome. So Ann Simpson says, "What is a hangover in this present life from one of my past lives? What life was it? She feels like it's a hangover."
A hangover. A hangover.
Yeah, it's great, great way of putting
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So one thing that most of us don't realize about past lives is, we always want to think of ourselves either as someone important, someone of prominence, someone who had, power, or someone who was famous, or we want to think of ourselves as goody two shoes. We were all good people in past lives. But that's not always the case. Usually some of us, we were just normal people, like in that, with the Titanic, I was just a stewardess. I wasn't,
Right.
a head of the head. I was just a stewardess
Right.
conducting
Right.
service.
Yeah.
But in one of my lifetimes, I was a unit leader that was part of a military brigade that came down through Colorado into New Mexico and helped to kind of wipe out some of the native populations and move them. And I always felt guilty when that memory surfaced because it helped me to understand why I was being drawn back here, why I felt so protective of the culture here,
Yep.
and why I wanted to make a difference and to help people. So sometimes in our past lives, we are not the nicest, kindest people. We can really cause a lot of pain and suffering to
Mhm.
others. Um, but those are motivations that surface in future lifetimes, like now. So the hangover that you have in this lifetime has to do with you and how you conducted yourself in a prior lifetime, where you didn't, she didn't conduct herself in a way that was the most loving, the most generous, the most considerate, the most warm-hearted. So now she's having to reassess who she is, but there's still a piece of her that feels icky about being this version of herself and having to like recycle and rework that. And so you might have a lot of these like back and forth. If you ever feel bipolar, this is the reason why, because you might cycle back and forth
Oh my
between
God.
like the idea of being like, I'm just maybe too harsh, or maybe I'm too mean, or maybe so it's like you're like sometimes not okay with being the way you need to be, but at the same time, it's like pulling yourself back and learning how to rebalance yourself.
Right. Oh my God. Anne is a brilliant woman. She lives in New Zealand and she is a doctor, not a
Ah,
medical doctor, but she's a
yeah,
doctor of education. And she's always feeling like she's not doing enough, but she does so much. She's
yeah,
amazing. So I
yeah.
think she's maybe an overachiever in this lifetime.
Yeah, yeah, she's gonna yeah, it's gonna just it's a motivation, it's gonna keep driving her and driving her and
Uh-huh.
driving her. With myself growing up in this lifetime, I don't feel like I've always been the best son to my mom, so I try
Uh-huh.
really hard to do extra and to go above and beyond, and most people who see what I do now, they're like, "You're an incredible son." I'm like, "I don't think so." But
Yeah.
it's
But
the
you are.
motivation, and
You
yeah, I
really
really
are.
appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah, I see that. Your mother just adores you. I can just feel it. I can feel her so much love for you. So I think she's very proud of you, but that's just me. She says she gets freaking angry at traffic.
Mm,
Well, and you that's just traffic, honey. I do the
yeah.
same thing. Yeah, I'm not a nice person. Hi, Deb King. Nice to see you. Okay. So I have this Carolyn Booker.
Mm,
She wonders if you can recall any past lives, but I have to tell you, her whole family has been ghost busting for a long,
mm,
long time. And she's coming
mhm,
on Friday to talk to me
mm.
about it. But
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, Carolyn, I actually think you were part of the Underground Railroad. And so I think that you participated in helping to move people back and forth in that lifetime. What was interesting is in that lifetime you were mixed. You were a black woman, but because your father was white, there was you could in some ways pass for a white skinned individual. So you were able to do some more and help people and get them through the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
Mm,
Carolyn, that's wonderful. I mean, you just read about how many people were able to make it out of there through that venue, but you had to be so quiet about it and everything.
yeah.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Thank you, Fernie. These are wonderful
Mhm.
readings,
I
honestly.
actually think Carolyn's family line, her current family line, genetically, is tied to who she was in that past life. So there might actually be connections in
Okay.
her family genealogy with where there was mixing of people in a certain area in the
Okay.
U.S. So she might be able to
Okay.
trace some ancestry.
Wonderful. Wow.
Mhm.
That's she did say she's related both to JFK and Marilyn Monroe. Isn't that an interesting
Interesting.
combination? So Craig Dixon says an old girlfriend was using negative energy against me. She used the burial sites of the Mexican people from 600 AD to 1200 AD. Will she stop?
Why are you giving her so much power?
Yeah.
That's the question because, her power and effect on you is only as strong as your willingness to accept it. Because you are a spiritual being in a human form, and you have every First of all, what she's doing or how she's using these things is a strategy of using tools to manifest and to amplify self energy. and self energy of her intent against you, or her idea, or her mindset against you. So you are allowing that because you believe that she's more powerful than you are. You believe that these things can affect you in the way that they are affecting you. And even if you didn't believe that, if one bad thing happens in your life, which is going to, because you're human, you're going to have some
Yeah.
crappy things happen in life, you're going to use that as a way to say, this is coming to me because of the situation with this with this
Mhm.
person. So what I would say is, I think you need to reassess how you are receiving that energy, and allowing that to affect you. Because as long as you embrace the idea that you are a disempowered person and that they can do this to you, then you can't,
Yeah.
you kind of have to use the Donald Trump approach, where I'm sure there's a bunch of witches out there just like mixing shit up in a cauldron and like trying to like get this man to blow up on stage. It ain't happen, because the man is delusional and believes that he's untouchable, and you've seen that play out in
Yeah.
reality. And
Isn't that
so,
nice? Yeah.
but that's the power, that is the power of intent. And that is why I tell people, like, you have to, I saw him as a teacher, because I was like, look, he's up there, he's saying all these things, he's like creating all this drama, and yet he's getting away with it, and I don't think it's doing any good. So why don't
Yeah.
some of us who do have a positive intent to change the world, or to do some things in a positive way, do the same thing but spin it in a positive way?
Yeah.
And that was something that helps me to shift the way that I was dealing with people
Wow.
in a very different
Yeah.
way, where now I'm like, you know what, let me just be a completely extreme version of myself, in a way where I'm using it for good, instead of trying to get my own out of it.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, because
Mhm.
if we can shift it, yes, it does show that we manifest what we believe in, and he really
Mhm.
does. He's so
Yeah,
delusional. He believes it,
yeah.
and it comes to
It's
pass.
working,
Wow.
and it's
It
working.
is
Yeah.
working.
That is,
Yes.
and that is a strategy that they teach us in manifestational techniques, where if you kind of have to lie to yourself about something until you start to believe that it's real, or that it's true, and in doing so, you align yourself with the energy, and the universe starts to flood in and fulfill
Yeah.
that for you.
Wow. Oh my God. Thank you, Craig. I hope that helps you, dear. Carolyn gave a this verification here. Her 10th great aunt is Lucretia Mott, who was, I believe, she was involved in the drinking. Wasn't she like
Mm,
an abolitionist? And she worked with Frederick Douglass. Oh my God.
interesting. Hmm.
Oh, that's so great. Thanks, Carolyn. That's wonderful. Oh my Lord. So interesting. Yes. Oh, wow. So thank you, Valerie, for being a new member. New members get to go ahead of everyone else. So I just want you to know that she wants a message from whatever she needs to know.
Hmm.
Everybody
Hmm.
is like so overwhelmed with wanting to know something that they don't know
Yeah.
exactly what. Yeah.
Yeah, Valerie, pay attention to your lower back and spine, because I feel like there might be some issues coming up in your lower back. Part of it, I think, has to do with a disc that is either, it seems to, and by the way, I'm not a doctor, so this is a personal opinion. So I want to make sure that you understand that you should still go to a doctor, get this checked out. But I keep seeing, it's almost like when I look at the lower section of your spine, it feels like is a disc that is offset and possibly fractured, or it's starting to become unstable. And this
Oh,
might trigger some sensitivity with your nervous system. So if you start feeling tingling sensations, you're having your legs fall asleep easily, tingling in your legs, in your feet, in your hands. If you're having circulatory issues, numbness, definitely want to go and get checked out by a doctor, because I feel like there may be
hmm.
something there that's just getting worse, and the pressure over time is just like adding and amplifying the effect on you. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Valerie, really, honey? Yeah. Wow, he nailed that. Phew. I hope you're able to get some relief. I know my husband works in the chiropractic industry
Mm.
with these issues, and I know that they can also do some. This isn't a medical show, of course,
Yeah.
but you can get some block. What do you call it? Shots.
Hmm.
Cortisone.
Yeah.
Cortisone, I think.
Hydrocortisone. Yeah. Yeah.
But but your legs really hurt bad last night. Okay,
Hmm.
honey. All right, you go
So
get it taken
Valerie,
care of. Mhm.
try. I would recommend, first of all, two things. Look into CBD full spectrum oil,
Mhm.
either topical or even just the gummies at low dosage, because that might be enough to help you. So I can't really sleep. because my mind is always so active.
Uh-huh.
And in where I am at in Santa Fe, we have an unofficial retirement community, but majority of the people and my neighbors, they all suffer from some sort of joint pain, back pain, or some sort of condition, and they
Yeah.
use cannabis to help alleviate their symptoms, and it's worked for them. But you can use this if you're in a state where it's not legal. You can try CBD oil or
Mhm.
CBD gummies, and that might help you
Yep.
to reduce the inflammation and swelling enough to go to sleep and not feel that pain throughout the entire night. So I would recommend that.
Wow. I could understand why you probably don't sleep. You're going to have to figure that out, though, Ferny, because you really need to get your rest.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I
that's,
have to. I have
after a
to force
while, yeah,
myself.
you got to shut down those voices. Say, okay, guys, I'll see you in the morning. So, this is Kelly, or Kelly Healer. She does healing herself. Any past
Mhm.
lives?
Yeah, there's
Any
one
past
where she
lives?
was an archbishop in France, and she was supposed to help support reforms and changes that they were making within the church. I want to say this was maybe the 1470s, between the 1470s and the early 1520s, like around that time.
Uh-huh.
Um, Pas, I want to say the name sounds like pastor because I'm thinking of a Hispanic word which is pastor, but I don't think it's that. But it's pastio or pastor. It's like a name that sounds like that. That would have been connected to that individual. So if you look up any archbishops in France at that time and any names that click in, that might be a tie into who you were.
Wow, Kelly. And it happened to Marina. She wasn't an archbishop or anything, but she found a person that was
Hmm.
exactly what Fernie told her to go to. So yeah, oh, that's so cool. I would love to get a follow up on that one. That's
Yep, the past
wonderful.
life thing is so fascinating to me just because sometimes when the name comes up, like, oh, whoa, there's a name. Okay, I hope someone existed at that time because,
Yeah, I know.
if not, and it's kind of hard, sometimes these places don't keep as good records, but the church is
Right.
really good at keeping records. So we'll see.
That's true. There's certain
Hmm.
areas that that they
Hmm.
had records, but beyond that, it's very, very difficult to be able to
Hmm.
find anything like that. Wow. Thank you. And thank you to Tanita for being a member. Thank you for becoming a member. Tanita would love to know if there was a link to her boyfriend that passed. He passed away in
Hmm.
our past life, and why did he do, and what he
Yeah.
did to me in this lifetime. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Get it. Um, so I do think there was a past life. This I want to say there's actually three. There's three of them total. This one being one of the three. Um, because I feel like in one lifetime y'all were siblings, and you were always the favorite in the family, and you kind of got away with a lot, and your ex didn't. Um, and then in the second lifetime, I actually think that you were in a relationship. You were married, um, but in that lifetime, he was a bit of a abusive person, just really awful to you. And you took it because you were conditioned to, because that's how women were in that lifetime. That would have been in Peru. So I want to say that would have been in South America. And then the third, which is the current lifetime, was the opportunity for you to stand up for yourself and to also get perspective on who you really are. And the thing that you don't realize is that the time you spent together in this lifetime was supposed to act as a trigger because it activated all of those prior incarnations within your psyche, and it is like reeling within you, and it's going to force you to have to spend the rest of your life rebalancing and using these experiences as tools for transformation of who you are going to be going forward and in future relationships, not just romantically but with anyone. So it does serve you. And even though on a human level we have these issues with each other, but on a soul level we're friends. We're buddies. We're like, hey, I'm gonna go down. Will you play the bad guy this time? And then we're gonna kind of, yeah, we'll do this. So on the soul level, we're all friends. But in a human level, we have these hangups with each other because we've put each other through it.
Yeah. Wow. That's something else, Tanita. I hope that helps you, dear. And that was wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we have VL. Do I have any special spiritual gifts that I should probably be working on?
So you have all of these spiritual gifts, and I don't like to call them gifts. I like to call them developed skills because that's
Uh-huh.
like walking around and saying, do I have skin? Do I have blood? Well, yeah, everybody has it. It's like, what do you want to do with it, right? What do you want to
Yeah.
do with your beautiful skin? So it
Uh-huh.
just depends. And I think, VL, that you are waiting for someone to find value and worth in you. You don't need that. You have value and worth. You need to choose to express it and to show others what you have to offer by just simply making a choice as to what you find yourself most drawn to spiritually, and then putting in the effort and follow through. And that's where I think you're having the hang up, is you are jumping around into different things that you have an interest in, but you're not following through, and
Mm.
you're reducing your ability to develop, and you're just wasting time. So you have to push yourself because you have every ability. You just have to pick something you really want to focus on, and work on that.
That happened to me, VL. I tried to do too many things at once and didn't focus on one thing. But it really did serve me in a lot of ways, because I found what it was when I got excited about it really made a difference, that this was really what it was going to be like. And I've had
Mhm.
really good luck with that. So poor Erin, she wonders if we can ask her spirit team to help manage her tooth extraction, the pain and the dread. Oh my. I'm
Mm,
sorry, dear.
mm.
I'm
You know,
sorry.
I really am I'm really glad that you're doing this, because I feel like this might be tied to some headaches that you're having and a nerve issue that is becoming more complicated. So I actually think it's really good that you're doing this, because I think this might alleviate and reduce some of the headache and pain in your head that you've been dealing with off and on for a little while.
So the whole community sends lots of love to you, Erin. Lots of healing, calming energy for you, and know that it's for the highest good. So yes, I know dental work is never fun.
No, I are you a grinder? I'm a grinder.
Oh, you are, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have to wear? Do you have to wear the thing in your mouth now when you're
Yeah,
sleeping? Yeah.
yeah, I have to wear I have to wear it because I was starting to grind so badly, and I had all four of the main molars removed and a crown put in. And
Oh,
then in 1 year, I broke a crown 3 times because
because you
of the
grind.
grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it takes a lot of pressure to break a crown. So my,
it
my kids
does.
is like,
Oh my
what
God.
kind of,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And apparently I do readings at night too. So on one of my trips with my friend when we were in LA, she said, you do readings at night. I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, yeah, you're just sitting there and you're talking like you're having conversations with people and doing readings for them. And I'm like, really? And she was going to record me, didn't get a chance to, but I was like, so I'm like, well, I'm probably dealing with, I've got it
Yeah.
going on at night too.
Oh my goodness, dear. Oh,
Mhm.
so you got to sleep, number one, but you're not, because you can't sleep because you're busy. Oh my
Mhm.
Lord. I used to do taxes in my sleep. I did taxes for the first few years of my,
Yeah,
adult life. And I just would be doing them at night, all night long. Numbers, numbers,
yeah.
numbers. It was really crazy. Oh my Lord. Yeah. Well, Aaron. All right. So I also want to, Hypnicity said her husband just had a bone scan last week. And yes, the community will certainly send him some good vibes. His name is Keith. And we send you lots of love, and to Keith as well. Yeah.
Mm, I'm
Anything?
kind of thinking, yeah, I'm thinking there's going to have to be further testing. In a way, I almost feel like there's a degradation of certain protein. It's like the marrow and the internal structure of the bone feels reduced, and I feel like something's going on with the way protein is being managed by the system. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to need a follow up procedure and possibly even like a bone marrow procedure, because it feels there's more. It's almost like trying to like get the system to kind of redo or reinitiate something that it should
Reboot.
be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, reboot.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
Wow. Well, I certainly hope Keith gets good news. Um, and he probably knows that might be something that he, but remember, we know you're seeking medical but we send a lot of good luck.
Yeah, because it's almost like if I can look inside the bone, it's like it feels almost hollow, and I'm like, why is this hollow? Like
Wow.
that's not supposed to be the way it is. So I'm thinking that
Mhm.
something's got to be replenished within some of the bone.
Okay. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank God for bone scans
Mm-hmm.
and psychics. So Sylvie says, what is to come in my love life and when? Oh, the when, the ever
Yeah.
loving when. Yeah.
I think she's asking when someone's coming into her life that she can
Right.
hit it off with. Yeah, about 3 years. I think it's. I know you're not gonna like the answer, but it's about 3 years and 2 months. Person's name starts with an F. I want to say it's. I'm thinking it's a first name, but it could be a last name, like Foster.
Okay. Wow. That's really, really interesting. All right. This is, I don't understand this. Went to Ferny's to subscribe, and I got a recent vid of mine, I guess. Your jaw dropped as Ferny had transformed into a blonde guy. Hey, if it can happen, it happens here, and I'm here, new here. I don't know.
Yeah.
He has been on with me, but I don't think he
Yeah.
turned into a blonde guy. But
Interesting.
maybe you shapeshifted. Maybe you
I
shapeshifted.
guess I guess so. It's not the
Yeah.
first time I've heard something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I've
It
heard
is
it
or it
before.
isn't? It isn't.
No,
Okay.
it isn't. Yeah, I have a friend who he's very good at like things will shift in front of him, and we've had conversations, and he's seen my appearance change in front of him, where he saw this version of me that was kind of white haired with like a blondish tinge to it, longer haired, and
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
so that was interesting. That was interesting.
How wonderful. Oh my good. I got to go back and watch it. I want to see it. Wow. That's amazing, Ferny. Wow. What a life you have. Yeah, and I know you picked it. You picked it to be this,
Mhm.
and you're very comforting. You are a very comforting person. So thank you. Oh. So a message for KK.
Mhm. Um, KK, I would say be careful with the way you're handling your finances, especially going into November, because I feel like in November you might have some unexpected expenses come up with your living situation where you may either have to make some repairs or some changes that might be a little more costlier than you're expecting. So anything you can do right now to prepare, like just budget yourself or just be aware, so that way you're not like completely caught off guard, because this might start to show up around November. I want to say this has to do with how something is lining up or how something
Mhm.
is like clicking in place. Like, so when you think of like a door and how it opens and closes and how it lines up, when you think of a gate and how it lines up or opens and closes, there's something that feels off that may show up as like something that may require a repair or replacement.
Okay. Thank you, dear. Thank you, KK, too. All right, we just got a couple left. We're almost at the top of the hour. I'm just having such a wonderful time. So Arlene says, any message that she has from spirit, and she is sitting on an amethyst chair in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Arlene, you have to embrace your darker nature because you are a full spectrum being. You have the ability to share and express and teach and heal others. But in order to fully tap into the complexity of that ability, you're going to have to see yourself as more than just a light being because you are in human form. And though you might be a light being in form, you are still human. And being human grants us the ability to not only utilize our light side to help, but also to tap into the darker nature of our humanity and use it as a tool. You know, some of the biggest changes in this world have occurred with people who were fully embodied in form and embraced that darker nature. You think of people like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs changed the world with technology, but he also was a bit of a bastard and an asshole. So, you know, that's just who he
Yes.
was. You
Yeah.
think of Oprah
That's
Winfrey.
true.
Oprah Winfrey has completely transformed the spiritual marketplace because of how she used her show back in the 2000s. At the same time, we only get to see a version of Oprah that Oprah presents as herself on TV. There is a
Right.
different side to Oprah that people don't get to see that a lot of people who've worked with her know about. So
Yes.
it's
That's true.
okay. Yeah, it's okay to tap into having to be a bitch sometimes, being more direct, being more stern, being more aggressive, because it's a tool that we can use for transformation and change.
Thank you. I sometimes have my bad days. And when I do, I don't like it because I get scolded from people who
Mm,
think I have to be spiritual 24/7, 7 days. And
Hmm.
it just doesn't happen all the time. I'm not perfect. I'm just human. But I
Yeah.
think we need to know that it's like you said, it's okay to be a bitch. It's okay to
Yeah.
stand up. It's okay to put up boundaries. And
Yeah.
I think it's something we all need to know. So
Yeah. Oh,
thank
this
you.
is
That
what this is why a lot of people in the spiritual community do not like me, because I can
oh
be what I have to be in the moment that I have to be it, and they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, he's so dark," or "He's so negative," or "He's." I'm like, "That's fine. It's whatever you. If you see that,
No,
then."
I don't see that at all, Fernie, but everybody has their own opinion. But for me, I adore you. I just think you're the real thing. And I but you know, things aren't always happy. Things have to have
Yeah.
things that are not. Wow. And I know Marina likes you too. Are you gonna be on her show this
Mhm.
week, or were you on the
We were supposed to be on, I believe, yesterday. Was it Sunday? I think we were going to be on Sunday,
Yep,
and I think we both got mixed up with.
mixed up.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
and so at that
Yeah.
point, we're just going to reschedule
Redo
it.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you, and I just, I look forward to watching that one too, because, I get to learn more and more each time. But Maya says she's sensing a new guide. She says, possibly can I get a name and why they're
Mhm.
with me now? Hmm.
Yeah, well, there's a primary guide, and then there are secondary guides. The primary guides are with us from the moment we are conceived to the moment we die. So they're not allowed to. It's like our dedicated, like, hey, my job is to get you from the beginning of the to the end of all of the things that you set out to achieve experientially in this lifetime. So that's the primary guide. The primary guide that I'm picking up on, it might be different from the name you have, but the primary guide that I'm picking up on is Denali, or Denali sounding name.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
feel, and it's a female. I want to say she's either East Indian, or it's a mix of an older civilization that lived in the eastern region of India, kind of going up into that region of the country. And then there's a secondary guide that you're probably picking up on, who's actually been coming in for like the last 6 or 7 months. And I think they're going to be helping you with dealing with lower vibratory human emotions like grief and loss and acceptance, because sometimes when we have to let go of people in our lives or we have to move on, it requires us to prepare, and I think this guy's just going to be kind of helping you through that process.
That is so cool, Maya. Oh my
Mhm.
Lord. Maruta says maybe Tibetan.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, because I
Was
was
it?
trying
Okay.
yeah, I was trying to, like, I was like, was that close to Tibet? And I didn't remember what it looked like on a map, but
Yep.
yeah, that's exactly
Yep.
what I was thinking.
That's
There were like
awesome.
East
Thanks,
Indian.
Maruta.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thanks,
Hmm.
Maruta. That's awesome. All right. Our last question of the day, because we're right at the tippy toppy, is from Deb B. Kane. She would love a reading or spirit
Hmm.
guides, whatever comes
Hmm.
through. Yeah.
Deb, so I definitely think that you have the potential to read and to sense things and to push this further. And I feel like you're limiting yourself and you're sticking to tools that no longer serve you. It's how I felt when I was evolving into just doing readings straight from mind. And I was trying to get away from using Oracle and tarot cards. And I was using tools. And they were like, just stop using the tools. They're limiting me. So instead, I just came up with like this form, and I outlined a reading through this form, health and wellness, finances, career and work and relationships. And I just started writing down my impressions and like rolling with it. And in the
Mm.
process, I got away from the tools and I didn't need them. And so, Deb, anything that you are feeling connected to, or you feel like you need to be able to sense things, that's an idea that is limiting you. You need to let that idea go and let yourself free flow, because it will help you to start to tap into deeper modes of sensing that you have not tapped into yet.
Wow, there you go, Deb. She's very busy learning things.
Mm,
So I love
mm.
that. And actually, that's what I need to do, Fernie, because I'm breaking the bank getting all these cards all the time. I need to just get
it's a,
myself in
it's
order.
they're an investment. Like I
Yeah,
think most people who are serious about their spiritual development can open up their own metaphysical shop, because they have enough stuff that they've
they do.
purchased over the years. Yeah,
That
yeah.
they don't need to use anymore.
No,
Oh,
they don't.
absolutely. That's beautiful. That's
Hmm.
beautiful. Yes. Oh my God. Well, Fernie, uh, I think it's so wonderful that you were able to come. I know how busy you are. We really always appreciate you coming. I want you to come back. I always look forward to it, and so do my people. So thank you, my dear man, and wow, much joy to your life. and find a way to get some rest, please.
Oh, I will.
Because I'm being a mom now. Now I'm being a mom,
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for all of you being here, the moderators and the new members. I love you all, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Ferny.
Bye, everybody.